Hello, Gonzaga. I pride myself on being able to juggle many different passions and interests. I first learned how to do this in 7th grade. My grandparents gave me a set of gray Josh Horton juggling beanbags for Christmas, and I spent the next few days tossing and mostly dropping them in this hallway. Eventually, I learned how to do all sorts of different tricks, like the box, the shower, and Mill's mess.
I also learned how to unicycle before 8th grade.
A family friend gifted me my first unicycle, a 20-inch Sun Classic they didn't ride anymore, with a worn-out tire, a beaten-up saddle, creaking pedals, and a rusted hub. It took about a week and a half of jumping on, accidentally rocketing the pedal into my shin, jumping on again, pedaling for a bit, and falling off. Every time I fell, I would go back and count how many revolutions I'd done and try again. Eventually, I wobbled all the way down my street and around the corner, well over 100 revolutions. I stopped counting after that. I rode my unicycle to school for when 8th grade started, and chained it to the bike rack next to the bicycles and scooters. I rode it the second day too, and the third, and the fourth. Whether it was raining, or 80 degrees and sunny, or patches of ice covered the sidewalks, I rode my unicycle to school for the entirety of 8th grade. I probably looked really silly, with my legs moving as fast as they could and my body moving barely faster than a brisk walk, but I felt awesome. I continued unicycling and juggling into high school, but I also picked up other passions and refocused on old ones. I learned how to crochet. I took up art classes, and I refined my instrumental skills. Above them all, though, the passion that I focused on the most was learning. I especially loved my biology class, and when my freshman year ended, I felt worried that I wouldn't like my other science classes nearly as much. My biology teacher assured me that I would love chemistry and physics, but I was still skeptical. Well, I took chemistry, and I loved it as much, or maybe even more, than biology. And then I took physics, and it's possibly my favorite class that I have ever taken. I loved asking questions and talking about physics. I loved how all the sciences circled around each other, kind of like juggling. I started to seriously consider teaching physics as a vocation. As part of my graduation requirements, I have to complete a service project. My service advisor recommended that I choose a site that would really challenge me, so I chose to work at a school for kids with learning disabilities. The service project just started, and I love it. I love working with the kiddos. I love looking at all the interesting ways that their brains operate. I love all their stories, and I love coming home every day to tell my family about them. I've now begun to consider special education as a vocation. One of the key components of Ignatian discernment is to recognize when the spirit of love is inflaming your soul. I feel it when I unicycle and juggle, and when I make beautiful music, and when I tell my kids a cool science fact. I look to an honors program like Gonzaga to give me the freedom to ignite my passion.